Rich Men North of Richmond was the first song Oliver Anthony says he ever recorded using a professional microphone. The red-bearded Virginian's out-of-nowhere country hit gets a whole lot done in just 3 minutes. It's a working man's anthem. I've been selling my soul, working all day, overtime hours for bullshit pay. A conservative rallying cry, 'cause your dollar ain't shit, and it's taxed to no end, and a starter kit for the conspiracy curious. I wish politicians would look out for minors, and not just minors on an island somewhere. But while this might be the first American chart topper to reference Jeffrey Epstein's sex crimes, Anthony's viral sensation isn't all that newfangled, either as a piece of music or a culture war grenade. Don't be fooled by the title. The most vividly drawn villains in Rich Men North of Richmond aren't rich. Lord, we got folks in the street, ain't got nothing to eat, and the obese milkin' welfare, Anthony yowls in the second verse. In the next couplet, he completes the picture. Well, God, if you're 5'3" and you're 300 pounds, taxes ought not to pay for your bags of fudge rounds. It's a potent image, one that draws on the welfare queen stereotype that oozed to life in the 1970s. I could go on for many hundreds of pages about where that trope came from and how it got deployed, and I have. But if you want a primer on the musical tradition that Oliver Anthony is drawing on, all you have to do is listen to another out-of-nowhere country hit, Guy Drake's Welfare Cadillac. Like Oliver Anthony, Guy Drake didn't take a traditional path to music stardom. Drake was born in Kentucky in 1904 and worked as an undertaker's assistant, among other odd jobs. The way he told it, inspiration struck him when he was well into middle age. One day in the mid-1960s, he was perched high above the earth, painting a radio tower, when he came upon a striking scene. I looked down and saw this shanty that was half wood and half Holiday Inn sign with a roof made of sawmill slabs, tin cans, and pieces of linoleum. There was a litter of young'uns, some of them old enough for school, without a stitch of clothes on. I didn't see any grown-ups. What really got me was this Cadillac parked in front of the house. According to Drake, when he made his way back down to the ground, he scribbled a bunch of words on a paint can label, the first song he ever wrote. For years after that, he said, he couldn't convince anyone to record those lyrics. But in 1969, he spent $1,500 of his own money to have a record made. Not long after that, Welfare Cadillac, Drake spelled it with one L, started motoring across the country, picking up fans and inciting outrage. Welfare Cadillac is less a song than a twangified spoken-word poem. In a slow Kentucky drawl, Drake describes a shack with a busted screen door and cracks in the walls. I know the place ain't much, but I sure don't pay no rent. But not everything is so broken down. I get a check the first of every month, from this here federal government, Drake rhymes, a hint of mischief in his voice. Every Wednesday I get commodities. Why? Sometimes 4 or 5 sacks, pick 'em up down at the welfare office, driving that new Cadillac. Drake's song hit Billboard's Hot Country Singles chart in January 1970. A month later, Variety reported that 50 welfare recipients stormed into a Kansas City radio station and demanded that it be taken off the air. A few weeks after that, an Oregon welfare official sent a recorded statement to radio stations in that state. It isn't easy being poor, he said. Those who need a helping hand, not ridicule and shame. Guy Drake was in the ridicule business. When he performed Welfare Cadillac on television, he did it with a sly, toothless grin and a comically enormous flower on his lapel.